I know that the early traffic today was very light, but what happened was there was a late rush hour. As I'm hearing from multiple people on my message system and on my emails, people are still on their way, both by metro and by car. There's an accident both at 14th Street Bridge and now a Memorial Bridge, which is delaying some people. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Afghan-American Chamber of Commerce, we wanted to welcome everybody here today. Great turnout for us, and we have more coming, I know, for this event at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in the Hall of Flags. Both our board chair, you're noticing, I'm sure, Suleiman Lutfi, and our president and CEO, Don Ritter, both had family long-planned vacations this week, of all weeks, and it was the only day we could get the Chamber to give us this room. And we're really, really happy that the Chamber did that. But at the cost of it, Don and Suleiman helped throughout the whole process of putting this event together, and I wanted to personally thank both of them in absentia for the help that they gave us. Also, we have a lot of our board members here today as well. If I could I just ask our board members to stand and let us welcome you. Doug Brooks and Bill Jorns in the back, and Leslie Schweitzer's down in front. Leslie will be moderating panel number 3 today. And several of our other board members, including Arnie Field. I know he's on travel overseas this week. And, well, we're just glad to have the event happening on the day that we had planned. So, as your host today, the AACC would like to begin by thanking the U.S. Chamber for helping us to get this beautiful space. We're grateful. We're trying to build a new relationship with the U.S. Chamber. As you know, we are the Afghan-American Chamber of Commerce, and we're not officially a part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But long-term, our hope is that the activities and the programming that we do in the Afghan-American Chamber will have a role and a function recognized within the U.S. Chamber. Especially, we'd like to thank SB Gomez-Jatalian. I don't know is SB here? Is she around? She's going to be here, I know, this morning. She had another conference that she's doing simultaneous with this. She runs and is the director of the South Asia division here at the Chamber. She's wonderful, knowledgeable, has been covering the region for a long time, and is trying to help us to generate more interest among big U.S. companies that are working in the region and have a stake in many of those countries. In case you're new to the Chamber, the mission of the Afghan-American Chamber of Commerce is to be the leading organization facilitating U.S. and Afghanistan bilateral economic relations, whether that be business affairs, trade, investment, marketing, what other forms we can help to make the relationship stronger and more cohesive long-term. That is our mission. The AACC will be conducting its 12th annual Business Matchmaking Conference, or what we call the BMC, here in Washington at the Ronald Reagan Building. We've done it there for as long as I can remember, and we'll be doing it then again there in December. We should have a date announcement on that for all of you within the next few weeks. And in your info kit, which you'll get shortly, because our office manager either got pulled over on 66 or is in trouble. So we've been trying to reach him. He's got all of our brochures and stuff in the minivan. So as soon as he gets here, we'll get those to you, and it's got the BMC announcement in there as well. Now, member services that we offer, a lot of people ask us, well, what does the Afghan-American Chamber of Commerce offer in terms of services to U.S. or to Afghan firms? And don't forget, we have a large number of our members, our Afghan-American companies that are doing business, not just here in the United States, but also in Afghanistan and different parts of Afghanistan. So we offer services that promote the exchange of business information, business opportunities, contracting. We offer training, insights into both the Afghan and the U.S. bilateral trade relationship and investment relationships. We do seminars sometimes. We do conferences. We did a big ICT conference, I think it was 18 months ago, that was very well attended, ICT being one of the most successful sectors in Afghanistan developmentally. In addition, we do a monthly publication, an e-newsletter. If you've been getting it, and if you're a member, you'll know that last month you got a wonderful e-newsletter article written by Scott Lockman of Clements Worldwide, who actually is on our panel today, on commercial and political risk mitigation for fragile state countries like Afghanistan. And this month, Robert Voch of Crown Agents, who I'll talk about in a moment, he penned a post-WTO accession economic growth roadmap for Afghanistan, and that just got sent out this past weekend. So we do a lot of communications on issues that are relevant to the business community, but we have several major commitments as an organization that we do to continue holding both the Afghan and the U.S. flags together. Our first commitment is to building that prosperous bilateral relationship, a business relationship between business organizations here in the U.S. and in Afghanistan. We also seek to advise and educate both Afghan and U.S. businesses and the Afghan and U.S. governments about the right policy choices, the right programmatic choices to support a private sector-led economy. We want a vibrant Afghan economy. We want it well-positioned in the critical hub, as Don likes to say, the critical hub of Central Asia. And we try to do programming and activities and thought pieces that help push that. We are very clear in terms of we support a market-led economy for Afghanistan. We do not support a government-dominated economy or an aid-dominated economy for Afghanistan. We want a private sector-led economic engine for Afghanistan that will support its own Afghan National Development Plan, and they have one, and it's very aggressive. And we also want to promote the fact that it's a free enterprise-based system where an individual or an organization's creativity, its passion, its hard work gets rewarded with success, with growth, and with sustainability. And that's our hope that we'll be able to continue to do that in the months and years ahead. AACC seeks to reduce impediments too. There are a lot of obstacles, as you know, to doing business both in Afghanistan and the Afghans doing business over here. We try to help remove some of those obstacles, figure out solutions for them that are market-led and market-oriented and corruption-free. I must stress that, and we're going to talk about corruption as an issue later today. Lastly, and I say this with all of our boards, hearts and minds together on this, that the blood and treasure of American and Afghan citizens and American and Afghan soldiers and police have been sacrificed to bring a better life to all the Afghans. And we want to make sure that Afghanistan is secure and safe. We will never forget that as part of our purpose, and we don't ever want to let that sacrifice be forgotten by not having a vibrant private sector economy as a result of what they've done for the Afghans and for the American people. So let's talk about our sponsors, if we could. We'd like to thank first Crown Agents USA, without whose support we frankly wouldn't be having this conference. They have been awesome throughout the 6 months or so that we've been working putting this together. If I could ask CEO Aline McMahon and her team to stand up. I think some of them are over here from Crown Agents, and give them a big thank you. Next is our silver sponsorship is provided by Clements Worldwide. Scott Lockman, who you'll see on panel 3 today. Scott's their director for commercial insurance. We'd like to ask Scott and Kevin Padone and Michelle Brown from Clements Worldwide to stand up and please let us recognize your support. Thank you. Lastly, we were very happy to identify our sponsorship with the Center for International Private Enterprise, what we call in the community CIPE. And CIPE has been awesome throughout this process, trying to help us troubleshoot things, and we're very honored to have Mark Schliefer here today, who's going to be on a panel, but also Mark's an expert in the region, has got an unbelievable background, as you'll see in the biography and the kits that we're going to be giving you in a few moments. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, CIPE, for doing this. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about today what you're going to expect from our event today. The format is, our plan is to have 3 fairly fast-paced panel discussions led by incredibly gregarious and energetic moderators. And so our hope is that you will not see any space between speakers. You're going to see this thing moving fairly quickly along as we go. There will be a chance for you to ask questions at the end of each of the panels, and we have a microphone someplace in the center of the audience there. If you need one, we're happy to do that. We are videotaping today, so we'd like to try to have you on a mic if you're asking a question so that the camera, which is linked into the malt box, can pick up your question as well. The only part of the conference today that is off the record will be our congressional panel discussion, which will happen in about 11:30 or so. They've asked that section be off the record, or else they wouldn't be allowed, frankly, to talk with us today. But we're going to have a great conversation about what's going on, especially in the Senate, with regard to Afghanistan. And I think you'll be very, positively inspired by that conversation that we're going to have. The first panel this morning, our panel number 1, is led by Dan Rundy, who will focus on various aspects of the current state of Afghan economic development in the private sector specifically. And it's going to provide, I think, a pretty quick and healthy overview of the state of the private sector economy in Afghanistan and how the international community is relating to that. Panel 2 will be our congressional panel, 2 senior professional staff from the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, both the Afghanistan experts in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee that are here today. And they'll be talking about the Afghanistan Accountability Act, which passed in April, and we'll talk a little bit about what the expectations are maybe for the House in the fall. Panel 3 will be led by Leslie Schweitzer, herself a former senior executive here at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We're very honored to have Leslie on the board of the AACC as well. And she will focus her panel discussion on jump-starting growth, both through trade, through investment mitigation, risk mitigation activities, as well as targeted assistance programs that are important to Afghan industry. And so we'll have a voice of Afghan industry on that panel as well. Our closing keynote today will be Larry Sampler, Assistant to the Administrator at USAID. Larry has been involved in Afghanistan, and many of us know in the room, for almost 2 decades now, and really is a hero to a lot of us because Larry has worked, he's been a military guy himself, but he's worked Afghanistan on behalf of the UN, he's worked elections there, he's worked on behalf of USAID there for a long time. He understands the country, the culture, the people extremely well. He has great respect for the Afghan people. And he's going to kind of give us a heads up on the Brussels conference coming, a little bit maybe of a report out on how the NATO meeting went and in terms of security, since that's a big private sector development issue in Afghanistan as well. And we're looking forward to having him kind of close us out today. Now, our morning was going to be taken up by an address by the Afghan ambassador, Mohib. And he's been working with me for over a month on this. We've been phoning, emailing, talking about the context of his remarks. And the only thing he said that could come up was, my wife's due date is Wednesday, the day after your conference. And so I thought we were set, everything. 9:30 last night, I get the email that they're heading to the hospital this morning, right at the time when we're starting our conference. So instead of introducing the ambassador, I wanted to introduce his spokesman, basically, for the embassy. His name is Faik Wahidi. He's the director of media and communications for the Afghan embassy. He's been there a while, knows the ambassador extremely well. He's going to deliver the ambassador's prepared remarks today. We're very happy that he's here and that he can do this for us so we don't lose the opportunity to have an Afghan voice to kind of start us today. And I think he's going to hit some of the key things that a lot of you have been wondering about with regard to all the news, both on the troop issues, on what's going on inside Afghanistan now. We had the big Al-Khozai transaction that was announced 2 weeks ago, which is a major new investment that's coming in, series of investments, frankly, 5 different projects, all in a public-private partnership with the Afghan government. So we're very excited about, we're turning a corner, and there's a lot of momentum coming. So I'd like to ask Faik if he could come up now, and we'll welcome him as well. Thank you.